Welcome back, folks. The Aroundtown show continues right now. Did you know that our studios are in the mall at Cortana? And more often than not, a lot of friends just stop by, ring the doorbell when they're shopping in the mall, and they stop in for a coffee. Well, our resident consumer advocate, Steve West, did the very same thing. He stopped in for a cup of coffee this week, and we had a really interesting chat about a very topical subject about credit scores. I thought I'd share it with you. Everybody by now has seen the news about the mortgage industry. Interest rates are skyrocketing, while requirements and qualifications for refinancing has seemed to flip out at best. Many people are actually losing their homes in America because their credit scores are lower than that of the minimum score required. Joining me for a coffee right now to discuss problems maybe with your credit score and how you can actually change your score in less than 30 days is our resident consumer advocate, Stephen West. Steve, thanks for coming in for a quick coffee this Thursday.
Thanks for having me again.
Oh,
Scott.
It's my pleasure. Now, tell the folks at home a little bit about some of the problems people are having, understanding credit scores, getting their heads around it, and also how scores are actually tabulated and calculated.
Well, Scott, the largest areas of credit score come from 35% come from your payment history, 30% come from your indebtedness. In other words, how much money you have access to versus how much you owe, primarily on credit cards.
Well, that's really interesting. So there are only two major areas to understand about a credit score. That's your history and how in debt you are. Let's give you an example then. Let's assume that somebody is completely overwhelmed with debt. We all relate to that. Their credit score is low. Some of us relate to that. And we have no spare money. What are we to do?
Well, won't you give me a hard problem, Scott? But seriously, let's take the indebtedness part, the 30% of your score. You could affect this the quickest. Let's say this consumer has a $1,000 credit card limit.
And it's maxed out?
And it's maxed out. They owe $1,000 on the credit card. Simply getting their credit card to a $350 balance would change their credit score potentially 100 points.
So if they've got a $500 point on in their credit score and they follow your advice, they could potentially get it to 600 quite quickly.
And refinance their home and save for foreclosure.
Okay, that sounds really great, Steve. However, in my example, I said that they were in debt, they had a low score, and they had no spare money.
Okay, well, you got me on that one. But what we first have to know for this couple to be able to accomplish this is they have to call up their credit card company and find out the day that the credit card company reports to the credit bureau.
Okay.
And by doing that, they can accomplish their goals.
But how? So let's say, for argument's sake, we know that the credit card company reports on the 20th of the month. Say know that, but they still don't have any spare money.
So all they have to do is on the 15th of the month is pay $700 on that credit card.
Great.
Scott.
Well, let's all win the lottery, Steve.
Seriously, what this couple would do simply, everybody has to eat, everybody has to pay for gas.
Absolutely.
We have all these expenses that we pay cash for.
True. This is
simply
true.
All they have to do is on the 15th use their gas money, their grocery money, and their cell phone money, all their expense money, and pay their credit card, Scott.
That's great. So we pay off our credit cards, so we have no money for rent, no money for food, cell phone, heat. Our kids are like dying in a corner.
Exactly. No, seriously. Then what the couple would do is after the credit card company reported to the credit bureau, they would use their credit card to buy their groceries, pay for their cell phone. And here's another kicker, too. They don't pay any interest for 25 days on that.
I get it. So what you're saying is you already have this money budgeted for your everyday living expenses. Just 5 days before your credit card company reports, pay off on the credit card, leave it the 5 days, then draw the money back out. But that's going to impact your credit score in a positive way, so that then you are going to be in the area so that you won't lose your homes and stuff.
Potentially, these people could refinance their homes. If they did this every single month, they would always have their score at the highest.
Now, I understand this is just a quick fix, Steve, but you actually give a lot of tips. This is just one tip of many he gives. Tell us how we can find out more.
I think my information's on the board, but they can also email me at stephenwest@cox.net.
And you do free consultations.
I do free one-on-one, discreet, so people are concerned about their credit and their scores and all that. It's discreet credit scoring.
And Steve has a lot more useful information. Those of you that are regulars to the show know that Steve comes on every single month with great information. What are we talking about next month?
Well, since taxes is right around the corner, I thought that'd be a good topic to cover, some tax strategies.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we'd like to thank Steve West. Look out for him. He's a consumer advocate on the Aroundtown show. We've got a link to his website on our website, and he's on the third weekend of every month. Some great advice there from Steve West. So don't forget, if you want to have a cup of coffee with me, you just...